Hey everyone, this is Mike. Earlier today the preliminary patch notes for patch 5.3 came out, so we're going to be reading through them now. Right at the beginning they mentioned that Isgarden Restoration is scheduled for patch 5.31, which should be about 3 weeks after the patch goes live, and then all of our relic, weapon and skysteel tool stuff is going to be coming in 5.35, which should be about 1.5 months later down the line. So we're going to hop straight into it because it's a big patch, of course, so there's a lot of stuff to go over and I don't want this video to end up like an hour long or anything like that. So, new main scenario quests have been added, starts in the Crystarium, bunch of question marks, we were expecting this. Has 2 requirements, My Little Chocobo, which everybody should have done this at this point, and then the Light of Hope, which is the final quest for the Crystal Tower 24-man raid questline. So make sure you have done both of these or you can't go into the new MSQ. Scrolling all the way down here, we have Chronicles of a New Era. Yorha Dark Apocalypse is going to be starting in Colusia. This is probably also going to be a requirement to get the dwarves done, but we'll have to wait and see about that later down the line, a little bit further down in the patch notes. Sorrow of Werelif starts in the logs. This is for the Ruby Weapon questline, basically going to be going in what looks like to be the Sapphire Weapon. It's going to be a little bit different than the previous one, if I can go off what I saw in the trailer for this current patch. Looked really cool. Weekly restriction of the following Chronicles of New Era quests have been removed: the Gift of the Archmagus, Primal Focus and Unidentified Flying Object. First two I'm not quite sure about. This one is from the Ultima weapon thingy that is in the final 24-man of Heavensward, so probably can able to just farm that gear now if you want to do so, but this probably won't really have too big of an impact on anything really. Then new side story quests have been added. Custom deliveries, Oh Crafter, My Crafter in the Firmament. This is all Firmament stuff. This is coming in 5.31 as I mentioned before, so we won't have access to this straight away I believe. Then for Hollows, starting in Idleshire, this is how we get access to the new Unreal Primals, which is going to be Shiva for this current patch. New Beast Tribes, the Dwarves, let's see. Ronan to the Rescue will become available after progressing through a quest chain beginning with a Village of Woe. I believe that is this one. Oh, never mind. We can rebuild her is what it says. Okay, so not quite sure which one this is going to be, but basically you need to have done some other questing before you can start off the Dwarves Beast Tribe. Now it also mentioned right here that you need a Disciple of the Hand level 70, meaning a crafter at level 70. If you haven't seen the video I made earlier last week, I believe, or this week, I basically talked about how to quickly level up your crafters all the way to level 70 in preparation for this patch specifically. And then also just a bunch of question marks over here, going over that it is a Beast Tribe daily quest, currency, and then of course it is going to be located over here in Lakeland, right next to the Hostile Imperative Aetheryte, I believe it is called over here. Then main scenario quests for A Realm Reborn have been revamped. I believe they said they cut the content for about 15%, so if you're somebody that was struggling to go through A Realm Reborn or you didn't want to get into the game purely because of A Realm Reborn being such a slogfest, then it should be a whole lot better now. They've also made some other adjustments later down the line that you'll see in the patch notes as well, that basically make the leveling experience a whole lot better. If you were already doing A Realm Reborn stuff and the quest that you were on has been removed from the game, you'll see this little message pop up and then you can also just abandon that quest and do some other stuff with it. Some requirements for main scenario quests have also been changed. You can just quickly read over this if you want to. And then we of course have flying mounts available in A Realm Reborn as well. In order to do this, they of course had to change the quest I Believe I Can Fly that was, I believe, in Heavensward, and basically change it to the new main scenario quest, the Ultima weapon, to unlock flying instead. Quest objectives icons for all quests have been adjusted to indicate elevation, basically meaning that if you are below the NPC, it will show that you need to go upwards in order to get to that quest. On some areas this can be quite useful. New chapters have been added to Noon Game Plus. This is basically all class quests, so if you did the class quests and you skipped them before and you really want to go and relive that Dark Knight quest line or something, which I've heard is really good, then you can go do that down here, which I'll probably do at some point because I skipped through most of the job quests and I'd like to see them again. Then leaves, quality of life change right here. Leave quests can now be initiated and abandoned while riding a mount. You don't know how good of a quality of life change this is if you haven't leveled crafters or gatherers yet, mainly gatherers. But this is a really nice change. Of course, not really going to be anything for me anymore because my stuff is all level 80, but when it comes down to the next expansion, this is going to be very useful. Treasure hunts rewards have been added to the Zanura skin treasure maps. This has to do with the dungeons of Lilhia. Also level synced to 505. They're also showing off the new glamour that you can get from these treasure maps a little bit later down the line. Then for free companies, they can craft this new cool looking house. This kind of looks like an Ishgardian house. So maybe when Ishgardian housing rolls around, this is something that you can craft for yourself as well over there. Change some stuff to the submarines. And then we have a new item that we can obtain through Grand Company seals as well, which is going to be pudding flesh. Housing, they've basically added some new furnitures from the design contest, some normal new furnitures. This looks to come from the Yorha raid. This I'm not quite sure where you would get that. Viera and Hrothgar mannequins, if you want to just show off some of your gear. New orchestrions, new aquarium fish, new flower pots, and new seeds. So a bunch of new stuff when it comes down to housing. Mandrill Gold Saucer, average wait time will no longer be displayed when queuing for chocobo races. I think the queue times are usually quite long for this, so this is maybe to like not discourage you from staying in queue, something like that, not quite sure. Or maybe just the estimate wait times were never correct. That's also another option as to why they're doing this. New cards have been added to Triple Triad and also new NPCs for you to fight, and they've also made some adjustments to the Domen Mayong. Miscellaneous 4 hollows has been added. As I mentioned before, this is to fight the Unreal Trials, available in Idleshire. And then they give you a little rundown of how it is going to be working. So after you've beaten the Unreal Trial of said patch, which in this case is going to be Shiva Unreal, you get a chance to play the 4 hollows, and you're basically trying to play this minigame to uncover some illustrations, and then once you have found an illustration, you get points for that. You also can get a retelling. If you uncover a large illustration, you basically get a second chance. You can do it twice a week. If you uncover the large illustration, you can only grant yourself 1 retelling per week, and they're showing off one of the necklaces that you can get with it, again available in Idleshire. We've also made some changes to the Wondrous Tales, but this is not too much of important stuff. And then they've made some adjustments to the challenge log. Now new entry successfully desynthesized 5 items has been added, and successfully affix 5 materia has been removed. And then we have a new emote over here as well. We're going to Russia, boys. Battle system. The description of certain actions and statuses has been adjusted, but the effect has not been changed, so probably to clarify a couple of things. Period of invulnerability after being revived will now be indicated by the Transcendent status effect. This is really good because sometimes people don't know how long the resin vuln lasts, so they would like start taking actions and get rid of the resin vuln and then die to the next attack that would happen. Or sometimes people would think that the resin vuln was longer than it actually is, and then basically not do anything for like 5-10 seconds or something like that. So now having an actual indicator for how long you are invulnerable is going to be really nice. Players can now change the name of active sets in the blue magic spellbook, so basically some blue mage stuff. New dungeons, the hero's gauntlet has been added. Experience point bonus will now be granted when completing dungeons for the first time. This is not applied for 50, 60, 70 or 80 dungeons, basically meaning that as you are leveling up, you are going to be getting bonus experience, meaning that you might not have to spam dungeons or do as many side quests in order to progress through the main story anymore. So it should be really good when it comes down to like the leveling experience of the game. Attacks by the coin counter in the Aurum Vale will now have action indicators. They're trying to nerf Aurum Vale, in other words, although I don't necessarily think that this boss is what is killing most people in the Aurum Vale, but anyways, it is a nice change, I guess, for newer players that might not be familiar with this style of mini-boss. Following changes have been made to existing instance dungeons. Content of treasure coffers in the following dungeons have been adjusted to ensure players receive gear of suitable strength, basically again making it so that the level experience is smoother. New trial has been added, as well as the extreme version of it. This is the one that we care about, of course. Average item level of 480, meaning this is on the same item levels as, I believe, Shiva Savage. So it should be a pretty tough new primal when it comes down to at least the item level requirement for it. And then of course need to complete main scenario quest ? And then go to the Minstrel Wanderer in the Crystarium to unlock the extreme version of it. And then we get totems that you can exchange for rewards in Yulmore, like you've done with all of the other extreme primals. And then of course Shiva Unreal is going to be added as well. Item level sync of 435, so basically I believe as soon as you hit endgame, you'll be able to go and do this. For Hollows, Edelshire again, level 80, there we go. Drop rate for the Shadow Gweeber's Trumpet in the Minstrel's Ballad of Hades Elegy has been increased, meaning that if you want to go mount farming for Hades Extreme, it's going to be easier now, and if you've already farmed Hades Extreme a bunch, you can now go trade in the totems to just buy the mount at the NPC itself. Weekly restriction on rewards in Eden's Verse has been removed. It does not apply to the Blade of Golden Antiquity that you get from E8 normal mode raids, not Savage raids, so the lockout is still going to be there for Savage, meaning that you can't farm the gear over there just yet. Number of Blades of Golden Antiquity required to exchange for a weapon is going to be going down from 7 to 4. So even though that the weekly restriction is still there, you only need to farm 4 weeks instead of 7 if you want to buy the Tombstone weapon. So quite alright. New Alliance Dungeon, Puppet's Bunker has been added, but we knew about this one already from, of course, the Yorha Dark Apocalypse Part 2. Rewards, you can only receive 1 reward per week, which is the normal standard for new 24-mans. And then each party in the Alliance will receive its own treasure chest, again normal as well. Completion rewards, upon completing the Puppet's Bunker you can now also earn a separate reward once per week, 2 cracked Stella clusters and 1 Puppet's coin. The Puppet's coin can be exchanged together with the previous one for stuff to upgrade your Tombstones of Allegory gear, but that is also quite normal stuff. Players will no longer receive the cracked Stella clusters upon completing Copied Factory, because of course that is the old 24-man, the new 24-man is going to be having this reward now. And then the items required to enhance equipment purchased with Elegant Tombstones of Allegory, Crystalline, Glaze and Twine can be purchased with Sacks of Nuts in Yulmore, if you want to do so, with the hunting currency, or with manufactured coins and the Puppet's coin. So you need both the old 24-man as well as a new 24-man coin if you want to upgrade the new Tombstone gear, but again, it's been this way ever since Heavensward, I believe. Following duties have been added to the Raid Finder, Question Mark Extreme, and then of course Shiva Unreal, and then they have moved Cinderdrift and Memoria Miseria to the normal Duty Finder. Players will now receive the power of the Echo in both Cinderdrift Normal, Cinderdrift Extreme, and Memoria Misera Extreme as well. Duty listed within the Duty Roulette Expert has been changed as followed, so Grand Cosmos is going away out of the Expert Roulette, and then the Hero's Gauntlet is getting added in, meaning we have Anamnesis and either the newest dungeon from the current patch, and then of course the Hero's Gauntlet from the new patch, which comes out in a few days. They've also changed, of course, Duty Roulette level 80 to now have Grand Cosmos in there, and they've upped the item level required to 430, and then Duty Roulette Mendra has also been changed to, of course, include the new stuff in there. And then for our new Extreme Primal, we have also gotten a new challenge in Stone Sky Sea. Then changes to the fees. As Season 15 ends, Season 16 begins, so it's going to be available right away as the patch goes live. Preparation time before matches begins has been reduced from 90 to 45 seconds, so basically if you're doing front lines, you don't have to wait as long before the match actually starts. Rotation of available campaigns has been changed as well, so you can kind of check that out over here. And then campaigns available in Daily Challenge Frontline has been changed as well. So it's not only going to be the newest one, the Onsal Hakair, everything is going to be in there. Rival Wings also getting some changes, time limit reduced from 20 to 15 minutes. Of course, this was the same preparation time as with the normal Frontlines. Time before delivery of Gob Crates has been changed from 12 to 10 minutes after the match begins. And then they've also made some changes to the War Machina actions for Cruise Chaser Brute Chests. Again, if you want to see the specifics, link in the description. Goblin Mercenaries now deal increased damage against mammoths, and the HP of Gob Tanks has been increased as well as their damage against mammoths. New items have been added. This is our dungeon gear from the new dungeon. It looks quite nice. I'm really loving this caster set. Definitely gonna see if I can get my hands on that. New recipes have been added. This is the crafted gear from the Zonura skin maps. This is how it's going to look like. I really like the blouse, not sure what I think about the skirt, but I have to wait and see how it looks on a Lalafell first. Crafted gear from 480 eye level can now be exchanged and upgraded for 490 gear. So meaning if you don't do Savage or you can't do Savage, you can now basically get an item level bump when it comes down to your crafted gear to maybe try and clear Savage. So up to you what you want to do there, but you can upgrade that crafting gear now. Sundry Splendors, a one-stop shop for gear and items purchased in exchange for elegant tombstones and scripts, has been added to all city-states. Limsa, Gridania, Ulda, Ishgard and Kugane now have other vendors. For tombstones and scripts, this is going to be really interesting. I'm going to have to look if it really has everything, because then that means that you don't necessarily need to go to the big cities like Yulmore to just go and exchange your tombstones and stuff. So it could be really cool to see what these all have to offer. And then of course these are all the NPCs and where they are located in the different cities. Crafting material shops have been added in Idleshire, Rolgus Reeds and Ulda. Not quite sure why there wasn't one there yet. Sort function has been adjusted. Price of certain items has been adjusted. Certain items can now be sold, desynthesized or submitted for expert delivery missions. Basically some items you couldn't do that with before, you're now able to do that. And they've also changed the level of the Zodiac weapon, Anima weapon and Eureka weapon replicas to level 1. The replicas are basically the glamour version of these weapons, so they don't need to be higher than level 1. Not quite sure why they changed this, but they changed it regardless. To reduce system stress, the timing with which changes to gear durability and spirit bond are processed has been adjusted to now basically happen at the end of a duty or like a fate when you're in there. But again, this doesn't really affect anyone. Also made changes in duty as well for this. Materials in your inventory can now be used to search for crafting recipes. This is basically all trying to make it so that you don't need to use third-party tools anymore in order to find like crafting lists and stuff like that. Trial synthesis has been added, really good quality of life change. If you don't know whether or not you can make a certain item, you can now do trial synthesis, figure out your rotation, and then if you're know for sure that you can craft it, then you can spend the materials and craft it yourself. Following actions have been removed. Collectible synthesis, meaning that basically all of your collectibles are now going to function like the trade-in items work, meaning that you don't need collectible synthesis active anymore in order to craft those items as collectibles. You'll only be able to craft the items as collectibles in the first place, so it should be alright. If you're somebody like me that would sometimes forget to press collectible synthesis and all of a sudden you have a high quality item in your inventory instead of a collectible. Following removal of collectible synthesis, the level 51 to 80 recipes used for collectible synthesis can no longer be used to create collectible items. Normal stuff because this is gone now, and then we have it available as a trait at level 15. Practice makes perfect. And that allows you, oh wait, no, never mind. This is for the trial synthesis. Allows you to activate the action trial synthesis at level 15, so it should be quite nice when you're leveling up as well. Change some stuff for the gamepad when it comes down to the crafting window. And now when you're trying to make a material list, you can also select how many items that you want to be crafting to also see how many materials you need for that. I doubt this was something that was missing in the last update, so they put it in here instead. Again, this is not going to make me not use stuff like Teamcraft, but still, for people that don't have two monitors, this could be a relatively good change. Players can now speak with Ehil To to complete custom deliveries, probably butchered the name, but this is going to be our new custom delivery client. Is going to be in the firmament, so I'm not quite sure if he'll be available on 5.3 launch date itself, or whether or not it is going to come later in 5.31 together with the firmament update of the Ishgardian restoration. Following adjustments have been made to Rowena's House of Splendors. The items for collectible turn-ins have been changed, and they will no longer change on a daily rotation. Previously, if you wanted to just like spam craft some collectibles, they would change every 24 hours at, I believe, 9 PM server time or something like that. But basically they're just gonna be static items now, meaning that if you want to prepare a bunch of crafts for when a new patch comes out with new crafted gear for which you need a bunch of new scripts, you can basically prepare those 2 or 3 days in advance, and then when the patch hits you can just turn in all of your collectibles and then just get a bunch of scripts on the day of patch day itself. So really nice quality of life change. Ornament recipes for alchemists have been moved to their own category. Okay. Auto sneak trade for disciples of the land has been adjusted. Again, huge quality of life change. Sometimes when you would go from like a city to a normal area, it wouldn't automatically turn on. So now basically Sneak is going to activate upon changing your class or when changing areas. So really good quality of life change. You basically will never have to turn this thing on anymore. It will just auto activate, so you can't forget about it. New miner and botanist gathering points have been added, new items have been added to gathering points, and new fish have been added. This is because we're going to be getting new crafter and gatherer gear this patch as well. The display of requirements for perception-based gathering bonuses has been adjusted, so they're basically changing how this looks now. The requirements has not been changed, so it's basically just the way it looks. Following adjustments have been made to ocean fishing. This is for the boat in Limsa. Requirements for catching certain fish with special conditions have been added to the fishing log. Again, conditions have not been changed, so just some quality of life stuff in order to see what you need. Level cap for desynth has been increased to 490, and stacked items can now be automatically desynthesized one after another. Again, nice quality of life change right there. New items available for exchange for achievement certificates have been added. This is at Jonah in Old Gridania, I believe. Pull-down menu of the materia creation window has been adjusted. New items have been added to the inventory of Calamity Salvager, and a new mount. This is the one that you get from Shiva Unreal, if I'm not mistaken. Music played when riding the Pteranodon mount has been changed as well. New Chocobo barding, new minion. The barding is going to be from the new Extreme Trial most likely. New achievement and titles. Following adjustments have been made to achievements, basically a bunch of stuff. Fashion accessories category has been added to the main menu. A warning message will now be displayed if your retainer's gil limit will be exceeded when trading gil to your retainer. You're gonna need a lot of gil for this. Following adjustments have been made to retainer ventures. New categories have been added for mining, botany and fishing, and the maximum number of shards or crystals that can be obtained from a venture have been increased as well. Quite nice change. Number of friend requests that can be sent in a day has been changed from 5 to 7. I didn't even know there was a limit to sending friend requests, but now I do. Players can now use the world visit system when joined in a cross-world party. Again, big quality of life change right here. Following additions have been and adjustments have been made to the party finder interface. A party of players can now join another party in the party finder. Also again, nice quality of life change. Option to specify one player per job has been added, so if you don't want doubles, you can now just basically have that as an option in your party finder recruitment. Silence echo option has been added when recruiting party members if you want to do stuff without echo. Playstyle, recordable and silence echo options have been added to parties, and some other stuff as well that is not super important. Description for the undersized party option in Duty Finder settings windows now states that all players will not gain Spirit Bond when the option is enabled. Wait option has been added to the Vote Abandon window. Display of status effects applied to you will now take priority when appearing on a target bar or focus target bar. This is mainly for healers, I believe that this is going to be useful. Enmity can now be manually reset when attacking a striking dummy. This is also a really nice change because at the moment if you're training your rotation on a dummy, you need to run away and try to like outrange it so you lose aggro of the dummy. Now you'll just be able to reset it whilst you're standing next to it. Category for actions used to transform your character has been changed from glamour to special. Description for certain combo actions primarily used in PvP will now include cast time, recast time and cost. Search function has been added to the Orchestrion. Pull down menu of the Armoire has been adjusted. Inventory category now displays at the top of the list. Display of quests with branching dialogue in the Unending Journey has been adjusted. This is to rewatch cutscenes. In the event players have completely related quests or completed related quests that allow for a special dialogue, an icon will display next to the checkbox that toggles the reflection of quest progression. Players can now change the size and positioning of the results window that appears when appraising logboxes and logograms. This is Eureka stuff, probably to kind of prepare for a change that might come in the 5.35 new Eureka as well. Some group post changes, so you can have like stickers and stuff. Lip movements option, tracking camera, loop motion option has been added as well. So basically some stuff for people that like to take screenshots with G-pose. Changed some duties that can be recorded, so they've added E8 Savage in here. Yokai Medallion obtained during the Yokai Watch collaboration event has been moved to the collection menu, so it's not going to be cluttering your inventory anymore. Or at least that's how I imagine this would be. Players can now access official site via links displayed in-game. Links have been added to the following menus when it comes down to PS4 only stuff. Hardware cursor, some stuff in the UI configuration, and basically a couple of other things, but this doesn't really look all that important. New auto translation stuff, PS4 dictionary as well. New music has been added. Of course, this one is a pretty big one for people on the free trial. A Realm Reborn, people that already have a Realm Reborn registered to their account are now going to get Heavensward as well. Or actually, well, even if you already bought the game, you're going to get Heavensward for free, because Heavensward is going to be included in the free trial of the game now as well. So changes to the free trial: level cap to 60, you get access to Heavensward, and you also get access to the Deep Dungeon all the way to level 200. This is for Palace of the Dead. They've also made some changes to the title screen for that the Heavensward logo will appear. Layout of the game launcher has been adjusted. Collectible information can now be viewed in the Eorzean database, which is a website where you can basically find a bunch of stuff. But yeah, that is all the things that are in the preliminary patch notes. Of course, one of the major things missing from here are the job balance changes, but we should be getting those hopefully on Monday sometime, so whenever those get introduced in the patch notes, I'll definitely be making a follow-up video on that. But for now, these are the preliminary patch notes. Again, if you want to read through them yourself for some more information that I might have skipped over, I'll leave a link in the description down below. But that's gonna be it for today. I want to thank you for watching. I want to thank my Patreons for supporting me, and I'll see you in the next one.